Most people don't typically climb on a mountain bike with the goal of building muscle. Bikes are often thought of as a great low-impact platform for you to get fit and burn some extra calories aerobically, right? But if you're at the point where you want to start building muscle using your bike, you'll want to wrap your head around a few key facts. If you watched parts 1 and 2 of this series, you'll already know that losing weight and building muscle require distinctly different strategies. Strategies that are often in conflict. To lose weight, all you need to do is burn more calories than you consume. In other words, move more, eat less. If anyone ever tries to tell you anything different, just smile and quietly ride away, because they're wrong. The complexity in this rather simplistic epiphany is in knowing what nutrients your body needs and how much of them it needs on any given day. Whether your goal is to lose weight or to build strength, or even if it's both, the root of your successes and failures is not necessarily how hard you work out, but how you choose to fuel those workouts. In part 2 of this series, we looked at how you can maximize weight loss by programming your body to oxidize stored fats when you ride. Now we're going to take a look at how you can maximize weight gain by programming your body to grow lean muscle mass in response to riding your bike. To add muscle mass, you'll need to move more and eat more. The muscle mass you gain will help you burn more calories, which should, in turn, lead to fat loss and a net loss in overall body weight. But be warned.
It doesn't always work out that way.
If you don't supply your muscles with readily available sources of fuel, you won't be able to stress them to the point where they're stimulated to grow. Subsequently, you won't see the results you expect, nor want, so you gotta eat. Before we get any deeper, you should know that there are 2 major types of skeletal muscle cells in the human body. Your muscles are made up of both fast-twitch fibers and slow-twitch fibers. As their names suggest, slow-twitch or type 1 fibers contract more slowly and are useful for longer periods of sustained aerobic exercise. There are 2 types of fast-twitch muscle fibers, type 2A and type 2B. They are both engaged during shorter bursts of more intense muscular contractions. Fast-twitch muscle cells become exhausted very quickly. Slow-twitch muscles are the weakest of the muscle types, and they rely on aerobic glycolysis to harvest energy. This is a slow process, but it's highly efficient and can be maintained almost indefinitely as long as you maintain an adequate supply of fuel. The 2 types of fast-twitch muscles are similar, but type 2B muscle cells are far less reliant on oxygen than the type 2A cells. Type 2B muscle fibers contract much faster and they generate the highest forces. They are so non-reliant on oxygen that they often appear as white tissue. That's because they're surrounded by very few blood vessels. They just don't need them. Unfortunately, both types of fast-twitch muscles produce lactic acid as a byproduct of their anaerobic energy harvest, and they both become exhausted very quickly. Subsequently, fast-twitch muscle fibers require extended periods of rest before they can be fully re-engaged. This is important to consider when planning how to encourage your muscles to get bigger, faster, and stronger. So, how should you ride your bike to encourage the different types of muscle growth?
Your type 1 slow twitch muscles are the first to be engaged, and they'll continue to be engaged throughout your ride, no matter how hard you ride. But the best way to condition and strengthen these muscles is to get out and ride base miles. Ride in zones 2 or 3, use your heart rate monitor as a guide.
Slow twitch muscles are fueled aerobically by oxidizing sugars that are stored as glycogen in your blood and your liver. Your body can also oxidize fats to fuel slow twitch muscles, but if you want to grow these muscles, you'll need to stress them towards their limit. You won't be able to burn fat fast enough to stress type 1 muscle cells, so you'll want to make sure that you consume plenty of carbohydrate both before and during long rides. Your fast twitch muscle cells start to engage when your slow twitch muscles can no longer keep up with the demand. You can do this by requiring your muscles to either contract faster or by increasing the resistance force, or both. Type 2A fast-twitch muscles can operate both aerobically and anaerobically, but they will start to produce lactic acid.
Type 2A fast-twitch muscles can operate both aerobically and anaerobically. You'll know when you've engaged your type 2 fast-twitch muscles because you'll feel that all-too-familiar burning sensation deep in your muscle tissue.
In most circumstances, it's possible to sustain this level of effort for extended periods, typically 30 to 45 minutes. Operating at this level of intensity conditions your body to tolerate higher levels of lactic acid. You'll also be conditioning those muscles to better harvest energy from blood sugars. However, once these cells become saturated with lactic acid, and once you've exhausted your ready supply of glycogen, you'll hit a wall. Not literally, of course. You'll still be able to engage your slow twitch muscles, but you'll soon discover why they're called slow twitch muscles. Recovery can take 20 minutes or more, so once you feel the onset of fatigue, slow down a little or stop, eat something high in calories, and then you'll be ready to hit the trail again with your second wind. Type 2B fast twitch muscles are only engaged when you demand short bursts of intense effort. These muscle cells are the fastest and the most powerful, but they can only perform for very short periods of time, mere seconds in fact. They can only harvest energy anaerobically, using whatever ATP is stored locally within each cell. Lactic acid saturation and energy exhaustion occur almost instantaneously. Operating at this level of intensity physically damages your muscle tissues. Micro tears appear between the muscle fibers, which can cause localized inflammation and pain. Your body will eventually repair these tears with new muscle tissue, but this process can take days. It's important to listen to your body when you're training fast twitch muscles. Continuing to make extreme demands of muscle fibers that you've already intentionally damaged is a perfect recipe for injury.
Engaging your type 2B fast twitch muscles is actually easier than engaging either of the other two muscle groups. Short sprints or short climbs will always do the trick. It's about maximum effort for about 45 to 60 seconds, sometimes even less. Incorporating these high intensity intervals in your training is not difficult, but it does require some discipline, and it can be exhausting.
After a burst of maximum effort, you'll find that your body can quickly return to using slow twitch muscle cells. As long as they have fuel, they can just keep doing their thing. So, injecting short sprints into a longer base mile ride can be a great way to stimulate two completely different muscle types without compromising one for the other.
I prefer to structure these sorts of workouts on level ground, which is fortunate because I live in South Florida, most of which is just barely above sea level. I like riding the levees that border the Florida Everglades. You can see them behind me. These gravel Jeep roads won't win any awards for being the best mountain bike trails, but they're teeming with wildlife, they're easy to ride, and they provide the perfect venue for this kind of self-torture. Now you'll want to warm up for about 10 minutes or so, and then pick up the pace to zone 3 for another 5 minutes. Then when you're ready, you want to do an all-out sprint for 60 seconds. Now it's important you go as hard as you can for the full 60 seconds. And when you're done, pull the pace back to the zone 3 pace and let your heart rate stabilize. Once you're stabilized, it's time to rinse and repeat.
The time it takes your heart rate to stabilize is a good measure of how your body is conditioning itself to recover. There's no hard limit to how many times you can repeat this cycle, but you'll know when you've found your limit. Once you're ready to progress to the next level, consider doing stepped intervals. You'll warm up as you usually would, then pick up the pace to ride as hard as you can sustain for a 5-minute interval. Then pedal easy for another 5 minutes, then ride hard for 4 minutes, easy pedal for 4, ride hard for 3 minutes, etc. All the way down to that full 60-second push at the end. These can get quite intense, but they can reveal a lot about how your body employs the different muscle types. Be careful not to start each interval so hard that you can't sustain the effort for the length of the interval.
But don't sandbag either.
If you're listening to your body, you might notice that the 60-second full-on sprint at the end feels easier than any 60-second period of any of the longer intervals. That's because your type 2B fast twitch muscles weren't engaged during the longer intervals, but they take over when the intensity is too much for your exhausted type 2A muscle cells. Now, if you prefer to just ride your local trails, you can still target specific muscle types using the same methods, but you'll find it harder not to exhaust your fast twitch muscles without some planning and some discipline. To isolate your type 1 slow twitch muscles, you'll need to pick a steady pace that you can sustain. Stay in the saddle and pick gears that allow you to spin rather than mash. To engage your type 2A fast twitch muscles, pick up the pace a little but don't overdo it on the climbs. Pick a gear that challenges you, but stay in the saddle and make sure that you can sustain the pace with a constant cadence. To engage your type 2B fast twitch muscles, get out of the saddle and attack the climbs. Pick a gear that will support you standing on the pedals and then mash your way to the top. At the top, don't stop pedaling. Pick a gear that will sustain your pace and listen to your body as it relies on the slow twitch muscles while you recover. It's important to be able to recognize which muscle types you're stressing at any given phase of your ride. If you can do that, you'll be able to balance your workouts and delay exhaustion, which keeps you from hitting a wall.
Something you'll notice immediately is the difference in your exhaustion levels between the first run and the second. With your butt out of the saddle, you're engaging your type 2A and B muscles pretty much exclusively, and they exhaust very, very quickly. You'll also notice that when you keep your butt in the saddle, you've got a lot more energy when you get to the top of the hill, and it's no faster to get out of the saddle than otherwise. It's about the same speed, but you don't get the gain. So for speed, keep your butt in the saddle. If you want to work out and build muscle, get your butt out of the saddle, mash your way up the hill. One last consideration is that you want to make sure you stressed each of the muscle types in each of your muscle groups. So you want to make sure that you're stressing your type 2A and type 2B muscles when you're seated, and you're trying to stress your type 1 muscles when you're standing in the saddle. It's really easy to forget that because typically when you stand up out of the saddle, you're only stressing your type 2A and type 2B muscles. So to do this, get out of the saddle, but pick a gear that's pretty tough and take a slow pace, and just pound out some base miles standing out of the saddle. You'll find it's tougher than you think it is. The other thing you can try on your local trail is just pick a single gear, ride the whole trail in one gear. Pick that compromise gear that makes you get up out of the saddle in the really hard parts, but it's an easy spin in the easy parts. You'll find that you'll be stressing a whole different group of muscles that you're not used to training. One of the tricks to muscle development is mixing it up, stressing different types of muscles in different muscle groups. So just get out there, pound out some miles, but have some fun.
If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of the videos on the channel. Let me know in the comments below what information you might have found useful in this series. In the next few videos, we'll be looking at how your body weight fluctuates and how your body actually sheds fat. We'll also look at how your body uses water and what you can do to ensure that you stay adequately hydrated. As always, I hope you enjoyed the ride. Let's do it again sometime.